It's simple. Who's going to win? That's what I want to know, because I've got my money ready in my back pocket. Going to Vegas next weekend. I mean, I've got my early predictions I've talked about with people, but having both you guys on, we want to break it down, not as much round by round, but how you think the fight's going to go through in the phases of the fight in general, because we know with these two fighters, it's going to break up into phases. It's going to come into who starts the fight better, who manages to perhaps change it up if it's not going the right way, and who's going to end stronger. So with Shane and Britton joining us, there's no better video than to talk about this. So I want to talk about start with you, Britton. How do you see the fight going in terms of what I know you talked about before, not as much round by round, but how do you see it going?
I see the fight being broken up into maybe 3 or 4 different parts.
Yeah.
I think rounds 1 and 2 through rounds 1 and 3 are going to be a little bit of the nervous filling out rounds. I think round number one, most definitely a nervous round. Similar to the round that he had with Shane Mosley, where there really wasn't that much contact, a lot of movement, a lot of head movement. Yeah. You don't really know who won that round. I think round 2 and 3, Manny's going to be really effective. He's going to break out of his nerves. He's going to have a lot of irky-jerky movements. He's going to make Floyd react quicker than we've seen him react. Kind of similar to his fight against Ricky Hatton, where the foot movement was giving him problems early. He didn't exactly know when he was going to attack, when he was just feigning him. And I think that, as we get into rounds 3, 4, 5, and 6, you see Floyd Mayweather make that turn. Yeah. You see him make the adjustment. You see him find his range. You see him finding his tempo, trying to control the pace of the rounds, and you see him finding his distance. Yeah. And once he finds his distance, I see rounds 6 through 9, him kind of pop shotting, trying to break him down a little bit, going to his body, testing him out to see if he can walk him down. Yeah. As we get to rounds 10, maybe 11 and 12, 10 and 11, I think are where we're going to see Floyd very aggressive. Yeah. I see Floyd walking forward, behind the jab, still very cautious, but landing his right hand almost at will. Yeah. Focusing on his body, opening Manny up. And if he can't get the knockout in 10 or 11, I think that he just coasts for a unanimous decision victory in round 12.
All right, Shane. Well, that was
a hell of a breakdown.
Wow. I've already been in my mind. I was calling up the bookies in Vegas. And I was going to go, but I was trying to remember it round by round. I want Mayweather on round.
I've been dreaming about this.
For years. That's what we want to know. So basically, just throwing it straight out to you, Shane. Do you agree with that? Do you think that Pacquiao is going to start perhaps more aggressive at them both, or is the surrender of the event going to get to anyone more so than someone else? And how do you see it going?
I mean, I'm not a gambling man, but if I had to put my money on it, it probably would go how Britton said it. I'm curious to see if there's going to be blood in this fight. Yeah. It's stuff like that. That's the stuff I'm curious. It's not going to be the fight of the year. It's not going to be the fight of the century. It's these guys are great boxers, and if you're a fan of boxing, you're going to love this because you're going to be studying, you're going to be watching each guy, and you're going to love every second of it. But if you're into MMA and you want to see that knockout, this probably isn't going to be that fight. Yeah. So I think there is going to be hesitation in the first round, second and third round. I think Manny's going to turn it on, just as he said. And Floyd Mayweather is the best at adjusting. So by the time that Manny thinks he's figured him out, that's when he switches around, becomes an entirely different fighter. Yeah,
and it's going to be exciting no matter what for the hype around it. But it is an interesting point you said, that both the fight in general has been hyped to be the best fight of the century. Yeah. But both of these boxers going in against each other, they're not going to be going in all guns blazing and just throwing it on for the audience, because they're both professionals and they both want to win. Mm-hmm. But in terms of a final prediction, at what moment in this fight would you see Pacquiao having his best opportunity to perhaps counteract Floyd? I know you said if he starts aggressive, do you think that's where he's got to have to perhaps catch Floyd off guard, has come out firing from the start, or do you think it's going to be saved for maybe a latter stage where he can try and catch him?
Well, what we know about Floyd is the longer the fight goes, the sharper he gets. Yeah, exactly. It's almost like the reverse with him. He has that reserve tank that a lot of fighters can't tap into. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a very exciting fight for just the fact that Manny Pacquiao isn't like any other fighter that he's fought before. Mm-hmm. Manny's going to fight him. Yeah. Manny's going to make him fight. Yeah. Manny's going to come forward and he's going to be aggressive. He's going to throw combinations because that's what he knows how to do. Yeah. So the actual event that everyone is looking for, that these two clashing, I think that happens maybe, 4, 5, 6, and 7. Yeah. That's the event right there. That's where everyone needs to pay attention. That's where Floyd is turning the corner and he's turning on, and that's where Pacquiao is, trying to stop him from making the adjustment. Mm-hmm. That's what I see. And so Manny Pacquiao is who he is. He knows one way to fight. Floyd knows several, but Manny's going to be consistent in what he's doing. And that's, let me stay right here, throw as many punches as I can, and try and hurt you and clip you. And, you know, the reason why I think that the fight might end in a knockout is because when Floyd is faced with an aggressive type fighter like that, Ricky Hatton, for example, Ricky made Floyd put him to sleep.
Yeah, exactly.
Even though Ricky was hurt, even though he was broken down, even though he was, you know, losing out on energy, he was steadily consistent with being the person that he is, the fighter that he is, and that's what Manny's going to do. Yeah. So I see, you know, Manny probably making Floyd put him to sleep to keep that pressure off of him.
So if it's a knockout finish, it's Mayweather winning via knockout?
Oh yeah, most definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting.
I think Floyd has a chin that a lot of people take for granted because they're not used to seeing him get hit flush.
I think it's not so much genetics or a big chin. I think it's he sees the punches coming and he rolls with them. You know, a lot of fighters are like that. Guys who keep their eyes open, they see the punches coming in. You watch the Pacquiao versus Algieri fight. The reason why Pacquiao maybe didn't have, well, he has knockout power, but the reason why he dropped him so many times is because Algieri covered up. Dropped his chin, closed his eyes, and he went down. And you never see that with Mayweather. When he panics, he's like this with his eyes wide open, watching the punches coming in. Even if he takes a punch on the face, he rolls with it.
And I think it was one of the boxing commentators on HBO when Floyd had a fight years ago. He said, I've never seen a fighter keep his eyes open as wide as Floyd does since Muhammad Ali. When punches are coming at Floyd, you'll see his eyes are wide open, so he can see everything. And what's the natural reaction when a punch is coming at you? You blink.
Mine just hit the deck.
You blink when a punch is thrown at you. Floyd doesn't always blink. He tries to keep his eyes open, and that's something that you train for.
So just out of my curiosity, though, if you catch someone who's keeping their eyes open and trying to watch every punch, if you catch one in the eye, is that not potentially causing more damage?
I'm sure it does, as the mitt will probably damage something in the eye, but if you have the reflexes,
so you just need to get, so it's about getting inside that. So, I mean, great insight from both of you guys, but now we want to talk about both of them as a person together. So, I am interested to hear points off camera that we had a good discussion beforehand, but Mayweather, it's no secret that people either love him or hate him. Very controversial. Some of the comments that he's made concerning other athletes, some of the comments that he's made, and maybe because his feud with 50 Cent is so known, like things like that are things, the reasons why people, when they hear Floyd Mayweather, they either think, oh, he's a great boxer, great professional, but he doesn't hold himself to that same high regard outside of the ring, which I technically don't agree with as much, but he's definitely not as liked. But then people seem to always to go or be drawn towards Manny Pacquiao. And Britton made a good point I know you want to elaborate on, maybe because he's not consistently in the light in this country, because he's from a different country in the Philippines. So do you want to elaborate on that?
Well, here's the thing. Before I even go into talking about either man, I'm not against Manny Pacquiao. I'm not against Floyd Mayweather. I'm a fan, a huge enthusiast. So boxing overall is just it for me. So with that being said, Floyd Mayweather has created a character, Money Mayweather, that has given people someone to hate with deep passion, someone that you will pay money to see get his brains bashed in if it so happens, right? Manny Pacquiao, on the other hand, he's built his brand for the most part on being the good guy, on smiling, on waving at people as he's walking into the crowd. And people, that's what people pay for. So that's what he's giving you. We know that he's a politician. In the Philippines, he has some he's
questionable.
He's made some questionable decisions that a lot of people in the Philippines don't necessarily agree with. Do they appreciate him as a person and what he's done and the attention and the money and the revenue that he's brought to the country? Absolutely. But, you know, just about 2 or 3 years ago, before he was saved by, you know, his religion, he had a string of bars open, and, you know, there were money laundering rumors going around and, you know, things of that nature. He does a lot of things in the Philippines that we don't necessarily hear about. All we do is see him smile and wave.
But don't get me wrong, even if people did hear about it, I guarantee people that are in the United States, that wouldn't bother. Not saying that people in the United States don't care about anything outside of it, but because Mayweather's actions are so prominent in the media here, they're probably like, oh, that's in the Philippines, it doesn't matter, we're focusing on this right now. And it technically probably is not as fair, but that's the way the world works. And Mayweather's actions Mayweather's words seem to come out for me at the wrong time. When you've got the whole Ray Rice incident and the whole world's looking, it's under the spotlight, and he makes some comments that are distasteful and they don't go along with the situation at the time, he's going to be looked down upon. And that's something that is as you said, it could be all down to his character. It could be a good money-making scheme, and it's worked really well for him. The guy is loaded.
The only time you hear Floyd Mayweather's name, really, for the most part, aside from things like that, is when a fight is coming.
Yeah.
And so that's all promotion for him. I think the Floyd Mayweather that we're seeing right now, calm, reserved, to himself, friendly with the media, not saying much about his opponent. I think that that's really who Floyd Mayweather is. That's not Money Mayweather. I think he was able to tuck Money Mayweather, in the pocket for this fight because this fight needs no promotion.
Exactly. That's a good point.
And then you have two different personalities. Floyd is more outspoken. Manny, he's a little bit more private with his private life.
Yeah.
Floyd doesn't care about that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So when you see that mixed in with the personality that he's branded himself as to build hype for a fight, a lot of people get, rubbed the wrong way by it. But I think that both of them are actually probably really good people.
Shane, agree? Disagree?
I agree for the most part. To echo my dad, I watch it for the fighting, not for your opinion. I don't want to know what you do in your personal life. I want to watch you in the ring do what you do best, and that's it.
Good point. Good point to make. And I've always liked to finish. Somehow I always throw in Prince Nazim into my boxing clips because it just makes sense. Like, there's a reason why I seem to be like a broken record, but there's a reason why you've got McGregor jumping over the fence to get into Aldo's face, because it sells. And Mayweather, I will never hold it against someone who's selling their sport, especially in boxing. Now we have this fight. No one's questioning boxing anymore. People were questioning it before Mayweather and Pacquiao agreed to fight. People were questioning whether it was on a downward spiral, what was the next big name to come around, whether boxing was being watched as much. And obviously it's going to always be watched by the enthusiast, but from a neutral standpoint, especially with the way the heavyweight division was going, people weren't as watching it as much for the action. They were just watching it as if you are involved in boxing and you loved it, you'd watch it. But people who are fans of fighting and like our world fans of violence and everything else, they weren't watching boxing as much. They were more drawn to MMA. And both of these sports need to utilize the PR that they have. And Mayweather is a great example of someone like that. There's a reason why people in soccer, in every sport, you have your villain and you have your hero. And everyone, like at the moment, we have this consistent battle with Ronaldo and Messi. Both of them are not bad guys. Messi is like an angel painted in front of everyone. Ronaldo is also a good guy, but has done somewhat controversial things in the past. You need to have someone there to hate in order for the sport to be as sellable as it is.
And perfectly balanced.
Yeah, perfectly balanced. So I agree with you on that point. But we want to know what you guys think. Leave your comments in the section below. Tell us who do you think is going to win the fight. You have them both predictions there. Mine, my prediction, I'll save it to the end, is the same. I said Mayweather on a unanimous points decision, I think. So agree or disagree, leave your comments. Make sure to check out Shane's channel at FightTips and on Twitter at FightTips. Check out Britton Hardin at Britton Hardin on Twitter and at TYTSports as well. You can check him out on there. Come back for more, guys.